Back to Access Tech Live.
Now, last week, Samsung unveiled their latest flagship folding devices. We talked about them here, of course, on Access Tech Live, the Galaxy ZFlip6 and Galaxy ZFold6 as well. So flipping, folding, Marc, hands on Aflalo, has both in his grubby little hands.
I had to bribe people, Stephen. I had to bribe a lot of people to get these phones because they're not even available yet. People can pre-order them now if you want. But I managed to get my hands on it, and I managed to be able to spend at least a week with these guys. By the way, they're literally going back after the show is done. There's a guarded courier outside waiting for me out there. Let's start with a fold for a second. So, you know, on the surface, the Galaxy Z Fold 6 is just a phone. It's a smartphone like any other smartphone. It's got a nice screen on the front. You can do anything you want with the phone actually closed. But the real magic here is when you actually open the phone and you get this expansive 6.5-inch diagonal screen. I'm going to unlock the screen here right now. And it gives you literally 2 panels of real estate depending on what you're doing. If you're watching a video, it's going to go across the entirety of the screen. It's got all the Galaxy AI features you can think of, like, you know, circle to search and all that fun stuff. But I think Samsung has come a very long way when it comes to the actual design of these devices. They used to feel almost gimmicky, but now they've got flagship specs. You've got 3 cameras on the back. You've got a beautiful aluminum design. They've squared off the edges more on this device. The hinge feels really solid. It opens nicely and closes nicely with a swap. I'll give you the... You know, you could smack it down. Like you don't feel like you're going to break something. But the biggest deal on these devices really is the fact that you get all this almost mini tablet real estate when you're using a phone. So if you're out there and about and you feel like you don't have enough space like normally to do what you want to do, you get that on a traditional Android experience. You get that full screen. The crease, you know, a lot of people focus on this crease in the screen folding, but it dissolves away into time when you get more immersed into the device, which is kind of cool. Obviously, as I said, like every spec you can think of on this device, the 3 cameras, you got the front-facing camera. People can use it almost in a clamshell mode, whether, you know, you open it halfway and you can have the camera being used on one side while you're typing on the bottom and you're looking at stuff on the top, which is pretty cool. Extended battery life, everything in a flagship device that you'd expect, Stephen, you get. So it's no longer a gimmick. We're now getting into the point where these folding devices are real and they're here and they're available, and the price tag isn't as crazy as you would expect. I mean, you're looking at about $2,400 for the fold and just under $2,000 for the flip, but that's what flagship phones go for these days, you know? This is just what you're going to expect to pay. So now the question is, are you an Android person? Are you willing to switch to Android if you're not? And do you want a device that gives you the access that a giant screen has? And I got to tell you, it's pretty compelling. But my challenge, Stephen, here with this is that you've got the Fold, which is a wonderful device, but then you got this little comfy form factor that reminds me of a small deck of cards, even smaller than a deck of cards, thinner deck of cards in the Z Fold 6. On the front of the device, you've got a capacitive screen. It shows you the time. It could show you widgets. It's got the cameras on that top. So if it's facing you when it's folded, you get those high-quality cameras as the selfie camera, I say in quotey fingers. It's got the same great hinge. It's got the same aluminum design. It's a bit more rounded when you open it up, but when you do open it up, you get a full smartphone experience. There's no compromising anymore. There was compromise when these first came out. They weren't as powerful. The battery life wasn't as good. It didn't have the fingerprint readers and all those funny things that or those things you got used to in modern day smartphones. And now you get this in a clamshell form factor that again gives you a very, very satisfying when you want to close it. And it's super pocketable. And when you open it, it's as thin as any modern day smartphone. I'm holding up a side profile now, and it's as thin as an iPhone is, if not thinner. And you've got all the features and everything you'd come to expect. And then they take it to a next level, and they give you things like real-time translation. You just have to fold it in half. You can hold it in front of somebody and talk, and you see the translation in real time of what's going on. So I got to tell you, these are really compelling devices. And I think we're now past that gimmicky phase, past the errors and the issues that came along with them, and onto a design and a form factor that I think other companies are going to need to start to enter to make their devices as compelling as a reason for sticking with those devices.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say the Fold is an incredible device. For me, I'm a little bit nostalgic of the flip phone. I liked my flip phones, and especially that slamming closed at the end of a call when you just had enough of that person you were talking to, and you could just slam the phone shut. Didn't quite hit the mark when you had to press a touch screen and, you know, there's an end button, and yet it didn't have the same effect for me. But interesting, you mentioned the Fold and, of course, the Flip you had there as well. I have in my hand the ZFlip6. So this is quite an old one in comparison. This is ancient. I mean, this is just garbage now. But, you know, what was interesting about this, and I want to talk to you about this, but in particular with the Flip, because that's the one I guess I would be more likely to buy. If I open this up, I can feel, I don't know if you can see it, but I can feel this crease in the middle, the line, where the phone is folded over.
You can still feel that. You still feel that if you actually are rubbing your finger down the screen. And that's because what happens is, in the engineering of it, is that it's thinner in that portion because it needs to actually fold over itself. And unlike your generation, which is the 3, when you look at the side of it, yours kind of went in on an angle so that it was wider. The opening was wider on the fold. That's gone now. It's now perfectly even. I'm holding it up right now to the camera. It's perfectly even when it's folded, and it opens beautifully and ends up nice and flat. But yeah, certain angles and certain colors and stuff, you will see that crease. But you got to get your head over. You don't care about it anymore once you're actually using the device. Again, it feels so much more refined at this point. So I think that those days, again, those gimmicky days when it was just kind of a proof of concept, not even available in Canada, for example, now we're gone. They're here now, you know? And we're hearing rumors that, you know, Google's going to be releasing their Fold version in Canada as well this year. So I think we're going to start seeing companies adopt this. Apple has some patents that we've seen kind of hidden around that talk about their potential use of it. I don't know. I'm with you, though. Nostalgic factor, definitely the Flip if I had to choose one. It was super fun to carry around New York and just open it up and look at it when I wanted to and pop it back in my pocket. But then you hold the Fold for a second. You see that giant screen when you open it. Hard to decide. Hard to decide.
Well, yeah, there is a question of which phone is going back and which one will have an empty box being given back to the guarded courier outside your door.
I think that they will both be full. I just can't guarantee whether or not they'll be full with an old iPhone or the actual devices.
Yes, an old ZFlip6. Just slip this in. Just slip this in. And
can you get that to me pretty quickly across the ocean?
Yes. I'll chuck it at you.
All these devices available. All these devices available pre-order now. Of course, they're going to be in stores next week. We're going to get them back, actually. They're going to be sending me them back after a bit of a time for other people to get hands on. And we're going to play more with them. I'm going to try to switch to it for a while and see other nuances under the hood, so to speak. So it's going to be fun. But you know what, Stephen? Our question of the week this week, what is the one Amazon Prime Day deal that you couldn't resist? I want to know what you bought. I have a feeling I know what it is, but I'm curious to know what our audience thinks. So let's take a quick break here and get to those responses after this.
There's more Access Tech Live to come. Get involved and have your say at Access Tech Live on social media. We'll be right back.